Hey guys, and welcome back to another Ropin Ranch tutorial. Before we get started today, I wanted to go ahead and remind you guys that right now it is auction weekend. I haven't actually done a video over auction weekend yet to kind of explain it here on the YouTube channel, but pretty much what it is it is a weekend that we raise awareness for the horse slaughter that goes on within the United States. So All Seated in a Barn is a rescue organization that we raise awareness for. This is kind of their Instagram profile here, and this is an organization that's located out of Bakersfield, California, and there is some things that are a little bit triggering on here if you aren't into blood or gore, but they do show a lot of the things that are wrong with the horse industry. So for example, every month there on the first weekend of the month is the auction located in Bowie, Texas, or Bowie, depends on how you want to say it. It's whatever. Anyways, this auction goes on, and over 700 to 800 horses end up shipping during that auction time to people that are there. Normally that means that not 700 people are there to buy. People can purchase online, people can purchase by being in person, and a lot of the times these horses end up in the hands of kill buyers. The kill buyers will buy these horses, will take them back to something called a kill pen or a kill lot. They'll normally house them for a few days to the end of the week, and then they'll load them on a trailer and they'll send them to Mexico, since Mexico is closest to Texas. They'll go across the border and they will be shipped for human consumption. Now, there's other things called direct ship horses, and the direct ship horses are horses that don't even get to go through the auction ring. They are horses that are brought there, dropped off by an owner. The owner says, I want $1,000 for this horse. The auction gives the money to the owner. The owner walks away and never gets to hear about what happens to the horse again. And that horse directly ships at the end of the auction. So during this weekend time, we raise awareness to this situation by selling horseshoes. People can do this weekend incentive where they help raise awareness by posting, or they will share a post on social media about All Seated in a Barn or about this auction, and they will earn 5 horseshoes. All of the funds that we receive over this weekend will go directly to the auction to help get horses out of the auction. And if you want to learn more, we've got this area here that kind of gives you some information on what is the pipeline, what is the auction system, what happens at the auction. It tells you a little bit about the Bureau of Land Management, who is going to be the United States government who owns different wild properties, and these horses end up going to they corral up. People will buy them and then they take them home and they can ship them out after a year for $1,000. It's great. Where and when are auctions? This is Animal Angels, which is an it is an organization who investigates things, yes. And they go undercover for trafficking for the horses and stuff like that. So they go over a lot of things, and I've got a link right here for that. And then kind of some information on what do horses go through during this system, and estrogen uses for Premarin and Prempro and Premphase, which is all drugs that people use for reducing symptoms for menopause and stuff like that. Donkeys, which is being used for donkey tea in China, or even zebra hunting that is currently going on. All of this information is located on our kind of about page, which is going to give everybody some information and stuff like that. Now that we've kind of gone through this a little bit, let's go on with what our tutorial is today. So I have recently joined a team of Pentaloosas with one of my helpers, and I actually redid this team page here to make it blue for you to realize the difference between your teams and then your own barns. And here we've got our current horses. So I follow the method on the chart that I posted earlier. It was either last month or this month, over how to breed for GP. I follow that chart regularly, and if you want to take a link or check that out, that'll be down in the description. Pretty much I'm going to show you about how we continue that method. So right now we have Harold. Harold has not been raised yet. Harold is a nothing. So Harold has to be raised up and trained. And then we'll be able to start our whole process. Okay, so now that I have sped up getting him trained by the trainer, we're going to go ahead and go back to our team barn here. And just for the simplicity of this video, I'm going to go ahead and move our 4 females into the pasture. So that's going to be Sophia, Chloe, Hannah, and Virginia down here. And yes, I know I spelled it incorrectly. So once we've gotten them moved into my Grand Champion team pasture, I'm going to go ahead and start with Sophia, and I'm going to go ahead and breed her to Sammy. So let's go look at my stallions, and Sammy's all the way at the bottom because of course he is. And let's go ahead and do our first breed. We're going to do this for each of the C's, the S's, and the V's and H. So this is why it's so much easier to have her in the pasture, because I can just give her the hay and switch back over to aging her up a little bit until she has her first little baby, which we have a colt. So I'm going to go ahead and name him Colt just for now. And he's Colt S because he's of Sophia and Sammy. And then we're going to go ahead and check his GP here, which is a 451. So we're going to rename him to Colt S 451. So then we'll go ahead and move over. We're going to just leave him just like this. And we're going to go back to our barn, or our pasture, sorry. And we're going to go ahead and grab Chloe next. Now Chloe is going to go over to Charles, which I don't think I'm actually seeing Charles on this list. Where's Pentaloosa? Let me see. Charles might have an issue because I think that Lilac Lover owns him. So let me check real quick that Charles is correctly aged and stuff. He is of age. We'll check the Coggins, and he has the Coggins and everything done. So I'm going to go ahead and tell Lilac real quick for the sake of the video, just to go ahead and get him bred real quick. Okay, I'm actually resuming this video a few minutes later. I didn't realize that my boyfriend was playing a video in the background, which was being caught by my audio. So I have moved myself into the other room, a little bit annoyed, but it's fine. Meanwhile, Lilac did get to log on, and she was able to get us a foal out of the C's. So Chloe and Charles was able to get a filly, and so our C's are getting a GP of 465. So we're going to go ahead and rename this horse here to Filly C 465. And I also was able to get Virginia pregnant, and so we're going to go ahead and give birth to her foal real quick so that I can kind of show you guys the next step to that. A lot of the times I do the pairing up after the first set of babies get born. So we've got 439 for the V's. So Filly V 439 is going to be this GP, and I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 439. And then we're going to do our last one, which is going to be Hannah. Okay. And hopefully we get a colt. We did. So now we have 2 colts and 2 fillies, which is actually a perfect combination here. So we're at 436. So we're going to do colt H 436. And I'm going to go ahead and write that down at 436. So now if we go into the pasture here, what we're going to notice is that we are going to have 4 babies. Ooh. We are going to have 4 babies. Now, to pair them up, I normally will pair them up before I have to breed again so that I have an idea of what I have to do next. So in this case, all of our V's are going to be 439. All of our C's are 465. All of our S's 451, and all of our H's are going to be 436. So I know that I want to combine the highest with the lowest to create an average. So that means I'm going to want to do a C with a H. So what do we have right now? We have a filly C, so we'll check that off, plus a colt H, which we already have. So a colt H, which is already a pair that we have. Now the other filly that we have is filly C, filly V. So V filly could then in this case go to colt S. So now we know we've officially gotten 2 of our pairs already done, and they're already out of the way. The next thing we probably want to do, because in this case, if we average out those GPs, so with filly C at 465, if we pull out a calculator real quick, if we do 465 plus what H is, which is 436, and we divide that by 2, that's going to be the average. So our average foal between those 2 horses is going to be 451 because we round up. So now we're at 451, and if both of them are trained, we're at 453. So those offsprings are going to give us a 453 breeding. With filly V, we're at 439, plus we're going to be with S, so that's 451, divided by 2, it's going to be 445. We're going to add 2 because they're going to be fully trained, so 5, 6, 7, so that's going to be 447. So now we're going to probably do another pairing, and I would probably do a pairing of, we're going to go to filly S. Yeah, a different filly S. Sorry, I'm writing this down. So in that case, we're going to go from a C, so 465, to an S, which is a 451. I'm trying to make this really easy by showing you guys this math. So we're at 458, 9, 10, so we're going to be at a 461 for that pairing, which is going to be great. Now, in this case, I want to show real quick that Charles is our highest GP at 494. He is higher than all of the baby pairings that we currently have. So what we're going to end up doing is adding him back in and line breeding him back into our generation here. Now, obviously, he isn't going to breed into filly C because that would be inbreeding with his own daughter. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover him with the person on the bottom to cover up and bring up that back GP. So he's actually going to end up breeding back to the H offspring. So filly H is going to breed in with Charles again, because when we do that math at the end here, let me bring my calculator back. So Charles is a 494 and the H is a 436. So when we divide that by 2, that's going to bring 65, 6, 8. So that's going to become a 468, which is going to make our highest baby, even though he bred with our lowest offspring, just to bring that GP up to the top again. And we're slowly adding that and going higher and higher and breeding him up generation-wise. So we only will need an H filly out of that pairing. We can go ahead and move our H, bring our S and V back in there as well, so it's easier to get everybody bred back in. Crap. So this is Hannah. Hannah's gonna go to Harold. Sophia to Sammy. So we're gonna move them back into the pasture. Not as awful as what it could be. So let's go ahead and birth Virginia here, who is recovering from me not feeding her a few times, but she's handling it like a champ. And she got a male. And what did we want? We did want a male. So awesome. We're done with Virginia. Virginia does not have to have any more babies. So this is Colt V at 439. So we've been doing this to get Grand Champion Pentaloosas for barrel racing. And right now we're at a lower GP for some of these because it is going to take a few generations to get them up high. So some of these, as they're moving up, probably are not going to be Grand Champion like qualified. Almost out of moons here. And we did end up getting a filly out of this pairing, which is what we needed. So Harold needed a filly, so this is filly H at 436. She is done. Mom is done. We're going to go ahead and continue aging up this one here. I don't know if she's getting any worse. What's her weight? 583. And we got a female out of her, which is good because that's what we needed. Did the mom's weight go down? Filly S 451. Yeah, filly S 451. Actually like that color. And then we're gonna go ahead and move both moms back. And I don't know what was Sophia at. So Sophia is getting better. At least she was getting better. So we're gonna move back to the barn. And then everybody in the pasture is our next generation. So what I typically do at this point is, now that everybody is here, I go ahead and I pick new names. So we know that filly C is going to go with Colt H. So I'm going to pick a new letter, and I am going to go with B. So this is going to be Beauty. And she was 465. And so this will be Brendan, 436. So now when Lilac comes in, she knows that these are their pairings. So you're always going to be breeding the ones with the similar names together. So the next set is going to be filly V with Colt S, because they don't share anyone, because it's Virginia with. So we're gonna pick a letter, and I'm gonna go with D. So this is Diana, 439. And Diego, 451. And then our next pairing is gonna be filly H, and she is gonna go with Charles. So what I'm gonna do is call her Chantrell. No, Clarice. 436. So this is Clarice, and I'm keeping the C, and I'm gonna go ahead and move Charles back into the pasture because he's going to be part of that next breed. And at all of these points, Charles is not breeding with his offspring because he is breeding to other horses that are within the breeding program, but not ever his direct descendants. And then our last one Our last pairing is going to be Philly C. Or we're going to do these two, right? C and S. Or S. Yeah, S and C. So we are not going to need this one. So this one I'm going to name Roger 465. I like how it always pops up people that I've texted in the past. And this one's going to be Rain 451. So this one we don't need, and he can get out. So he's going to go into the barn. And so now at this point, everybody in this barn is who's going to be on our next generation. And so we can plan it that they are going to start being the next offspring that we create. And eventually, as you're moving through this, your averages will get closer together, and you will actually be able to have an offspring that is similar. So you would be having a full set of like 460s, and then the next set would be like 470. And so you will slowly move up like that until you get up to what you're looking for, and to start actually incrementing past what like the rankings are. And at this point, it's just because we got one horse, which was Charles, and Charles was a really high GP. And because he was a high GP, we snatched him, and we were able to use him for the breeding program to continue moving him up onto that ranking, which now we've got a 501 to eventually beat. But slowly we're climbing up there, as 464 is coming up there, 465 is coming up there. Now we've got a 465 in here. And so our next one will be up here closer to Charles, because like I said in the math, our next one's going to come up to 468. So our next one's going to be fourth in ranking. And then from there, we'll be able to move up even higher to closer to that 494. So I will definitely show another video though as we're slowly moving through this ranking, and just to give you guys a little video and tutorial of more of how this all works and how this all goes. So I hope that you guys have a good rest of your afternoon. It is midnight for me, obviously, and I'm gonna go code because I never stop. So you guys have a lovely day.